Hey guys, what's up? I got my 2008 Kia Sorento here in the garage, and we're getting ready to do an oil change on it. I'll show you how it's done. This has a 3.3 in it, and let's get rolling.
We got one 10 millimeter here. I'm gonna take this one off. Well, if I grabbed the 10 instead of the 11, I'd be doing all right. All right, we're back.
I think that's the only bolt on it.
Cap, this ain't stopping anything.
Nope.
Okay, there's nothing in the back holding on.
Yeah, just kind of
Get some grommets.
just pull right off.
I see one here.
There you go.
So he's got that oil filter housing in the back over here.
Yeah.
It looks like we can get a wrench on it. So we're gonna go and change that now before we put the car up and drain the oil. And I'm just gonna set the cap on this so nothing falls in there. All right, let's get the oil filter wrench. Okay, we got a regular strap wrench here. And let's see if we can crack this thing loose. Yep.
It's the first car I've ever had with this kind of an oil filter.
Yeah. Alrighty. So this is gonna, when we pull this out, this is gonna drip. So we're gonna throw some rags across the top of the engine so that we don't make a mess here. Yeah, of course, the filter, it's covered up with it. The filter kind of got detached from it a little. These make a mess, so you kind of got to pull it out quick. It's got a long stanchion on it. And let's see if that stays with the cap. It does. So that comes up there. Now you've got an O-ring on here. We're going to remove that.
Yeah, there's a filter kit. Right there. Whoop.
Okay, there's the O-ring.
There's an empty box. Hey, there's the filter.
I'm going to put this filter in the bucket over here. Okay, so we're going to get underneath with our little pick and get the O-ring off. Okay, get some oil on this housing, just rubbing it on the seal. Make sure everything looks good here. Threads look good. Okay, filter doesn't matter which way it goes in, it's the same. So let's lock that down into place, it just snaps in.
Yeah, you heard it.
And let's see if it stays there. Yeah, okay. All right, we're gonna go throw this back in place. So when you pull this out, you kind of got to be quick because it's going to try and make a mess on you. And you have to line up that little prindle that's sticking out of the bottom of the filter because it goes down into the engine. So just make sure you get that lined up good. And you got to tighten this thing up as much as we can. This is going to be, this has to get down a lot, and it's already a little snug. That O-ring is probably tight on it. tight. We have an oil filter cap thing that we bought from Harbor Freight, but it doesn't have this size. And so we're kind of going old school with this, you know, and it's tight in here, so. But we got to make sure that it's tight so that it doesn't leak. Okay. All right, that's it. It's all tight. And we'll just wipe down the housing. And like I said, you just want to do it when you remove it. I had to hold the bottom of the filter because it was falling down off of the holder in there. And, you know, if you just do it slow, you're just going to drag oil all over the top of your motor. So you're trying to do it quick. All right, so we got that done. We're going to put it up in the air and drain the oil out of the crankcase. All right, we got a 17 millimeter for the crankcase plug here. All right, get that loose. It's pretty accessible. I'm going to pull this out. It's not hot, so we shouldn't get a big splash. So it's got the O-ring, the metal ring, seal washer on there. It looks in good condition, so we're good with that.
And we're gonna let this drain out.
All right, we got our plug going back in. And, you know, while we were letting the oil drain, we were checking the rest of the car out, filled up our tires, and looked at our exhaust, and looked, make sure we didn't have any leaks. And so, you know, you gotta take the time to look at that. All right, let me get the wrench and we'll tighten this up. Okay, it's tight. All right, so like I said, we checked our front end, we checked all the exhaust, and we checked everything underneath, make sure there's no leaks, and we're gonna put it back down and we'll get the oil in it. All right, so the system takes 5.5 quarts. We're gonna get 5 in, and then we get another quart. We'll get the half a quart in. Tony says it doesn't burn any oil, so
Doesn't burn any oil.
Taking his word on it. We're gonna put a little grease on these things here for the cover, so we don't have such a hard time taking the cover off again.
This takes the 520. It's to get the 3.3 in it.
Yeah. I've had good luck with it so far. So did some brake work on it, put a bearing in it, oil change, fixed the transmission line, but you know what? It's all been small stuff, really.
My wife has a 2018 Kia, and that thing burns oil like there's no tomorrow. But this one doesn't.
Yeah, what'd they ever do for that? The calibration fix it? Didn't fix
I brought it to the Kia dealership, Steve, and they downloaded some software to the computer. And then, because it had under 100,000 miles when I did it, I told them it was drinking oil. It's an old problem with Kia in the 2018, around that year range. So they documented it. They said if the engine blows up, it's covered now. So they gave me an extended warranty on it through the dealership.
So they didn't download a set of piston rings?
No, they didn't download. No, they said freaking lick your wounds and kick you in the ass.
Some of that old bottle engine rebuild in the can that they used to sell 50 years ago, man.
The engine in the can?
Yeah, I used to work with Tony's dad at a place, and they used to have that stuff on the counter, and it was engine rebuild in a can. And when you poured it in, it was
like honey.
You opened it up and you just waited about 5 seconds for it to start oozing out of the can.
It was like freaking molasses.
So we're gonna put a half a quart in here, and then we're gonna check our level. Yeah. All right, so we put a little lube on the nipples sticking up for the bottom of the cover here that go into the rubbers, just so that they come off a little easier the next time. So, you know, try and line them up. We get one lined up. We get the bolt lined up over here, so the rest of them will line up, and we didn't have to leave the cover off. We've got one 10 millimeter bolt here that we're gonna put back down in place and snug that one up. But we had a real hard time pulling the cover off because they were dry. So just put a little lube on them. It'll make it a lot easier for you. And we're going to tighten up this 10 millimeter right now, and that'll be it. Put our oil change. Going to put our oil change sticker on the windshield so that we remember, when we change the oil, and check our lights, and that'll finish it up.